The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the webinar. We're looking for 10 new area manager positions in 2015 for a market-leading beauty brand. Waiting for a few more people to arrive. I can hear that people are currently dialing in, so we're going to give it a couple of minutes before we do actually start. Those of you that are here now, if you could just type in the box if you can hear me clearly. I want to ensure that everyone can hear and the sound is clear, because sometimes it can be a bit temperamental. So I can see that some people are putting their hands up. Does that mean that you can hear me? If you type in the box, if you can, just type in the chat box whether you can hear or not. That would be great, so I can just see. I'm not quite sure if the hands raised means that you can or whether you've got a question. So if you could just type in the chat box that you can hear me clearly before we start, that would be great. And I'm going to type in the box as well to make sure that everybody can hear. Like I said, we're waiting for a few more people to sign in, and we will be beginning very shortly. Okay, a few people so they can hear me. If anybody can't hear, if you just type in the box. Just want to make sure that everyone can hear before we start, as sometimes webinars, as I mentioned before, can be a bit temperamental. Excellent. Okay, well, I think we're ready to start. It seems that everybody has now arrived and everybody seems to be able to hear, which is good. Any problems as we proceed, just let me know by typing in the box. Any questions that anyone's got as well throughout the course of the webinar, type them in the box and we'll save them till the end. And at the end of the presentation, I will answer any questions or any concerns that you may have about the process. So let's begin. So my name is Matthew Goddard, and I'm from a company called Rainbow Consultancy. We are recruiters. We recruit purely within the fashion and beauty arena. Fashion, beauty and luxury brands across specialist niche divisions. So we recruit across the board, from the retail operations side to all the head office sectors too. And I look after both senior roles within the sector and also retail operations. So that's the kind of areas that I actively recruit for. In terms of our beauty division, we recruit here for everything from the shop floor right up to senior management positions. So from your skincare, fragrance and beauty consultants all the way up to area and regional managers. So I guess most of you have joined this particular webinar to express interest in perhaps a new move, a new job change in 2015. And I think December is often quite a good time to put the feelers out. It can normally be quite a quiet time in terms of activity. Interviews tend to die down a bit and the process isn't as quick as it is during other parts of the year. But it's certainly the time, I think, that people start to reflect and think, actually, do I want to be in the same company that I'm in now in 2015? You know, your New Year's resolutions start to come up and your goals and plans. And also we find that in January, new budgets appear. So businesses are actively recruiting, and now's the time that they're planning and thinking about the headcount they need for the next year. So we're currently working with lots of leading brands within the industry, and also some new brands that are sort of starting up and making some waves. But the brand that we're recruiting for at the moment, the brand that we're looking to recruit for, we have lots of new exciting vacancies. The 10 area manager vacancies that we're looking at over the course of 2015 is Benefit Cosmetics. Now, Benefit Cosmetics, I'm sure most of you on this call will know, are a leading brand within the industry. They're a global brand with their roots firmly in America. They started off in San Francisco back in 1976. We've put some pictures up here just to give a bit of a flavour if people aren't as familiar with the brand as others. Just a bit of a flavour. I wanted to give a bit of an idea about Benefit, and they are quite different. They are quite quirky. They're not your run-of-the-mill brand. They're very edgy. They do things differently, and they're very fun. You might be wondering why there's a picture of a dog there as well. That's Harvey, who is the Benefit dog, and he's a regular feature at their head office in Chelmsford. I think he's the managing director's dog, but he's always wandering around the office, and that, I think, gives you a bit of an idea of the culture and the light-hearted, relaxed environment that they adopt, especially at their head office. That is replicated on the shop floor, but obviously they're in department stores, so you know they can still be quirky, but maybe not as quirky as they are at their office. But they are fun, they're energetic, and they're different, and they really stand out, I think, on the shop floor. When you go into a department store, Benefit, the colour schemes they use, the kind of sweet shop atmosphere that you've got there on the shop floor, and the vintage feel, it definitely looks different to what the other brands are trying to do there. So Benefit have got 3,000 counters across the world. They trade in 35 different global markets. They were founded back in 1976 in San Francisco by twin sisters, Jean and Jane Ford. And they're now actually, since 1997, they've been part of the Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton group, who I'm sure you're aware are one of the leaders in terms of luxury brands. So they own a number of beauty brands, including Christian Dior Beauty. They own obviously the Moet Champagne, the Veuve Clicquot, and they own some fashion and accessories brands too. And they acquired Benefit back in 1997, but Benefit still maintains very true to its original vision. And it's actually the two daughters now who run the business on a day-to-day basis. Now I'm just actually seeing, bear with me a moment, if I can bring up another screen. If you just bear with me a moment. Just to give you really a bit of a flavour, I wanted to bring up some information from the Benefit website to give you a bit of a flavour about the business and a bit about the history. So laughter is the best cosmetic is one of their lines that they use a lot. So this gives you a bit of an idea. This wording here gives you a bit of an idea about the vision, about the values, about what they think is really important. So bear with me a moment. So giving you a bit of an idea about the history. Why isn't that displaying very well? So basically there's some pictures here. This is actually Jean and Jane Ford and their daughters. So the two daughters actually now run the business day to day. So it's very much a family affair still. Bear with me a second, I think. There we go. If I hide that. This basically gives you a bit of an idea. Now, there's a video that you can watch called Glamoriety, and it tells you the story of Benefit, and it gives you a real flavour of Jean and Jane Ford, their personality, and I think makes you understand why they do things a certain way, you know, the quirky elements that they've got, the ideas that they've had, and it's really interesting, and I think it really gives a real flavour of the brand. It's a fantastic watch. So they actually, you know, they I'm not quite sure if it happened like this, but they flipped a coin, they say, and heads was a casserole cafe, and tails it was a makeup shop, and the rest, they say, is history. So it's now Maggie and Annie Ford, Jean's daughters, and it's actually Jean, both of Jean's daughters and Jane's nieces, who pretty much run the business day to day, and they joined back in 2008. So just showing some information now about the brand. So the faceplate is what they were originally called. They were rebranded to Benefit back in 1990, and really they conquered the US first, and in 1997 they came into the UK with their very first counter at Harrods, and actually it was 99 that they were acquired by LVMH, not 97, but the late 90s nonetheless, and really they've just become massive. They really have become a mass market brand, especially here in the UK, where they work with the leading department stores. So the key ones would be Debenhams, House of Fraser, Boots, John Lewis, as the main partners they've got within the UK. But they've got, just to give you some key information, and if I go back to the slideshow, bear with me a second. 470 doors in the UK and Ireland, and that's growing rapidly. So the reason that we're having this webinar today is to discuss 10 new area manager roles. So you can imagine they're looking for 10 area managers. You can imagine how many counters they're looking to open. So it's due to massive expansion. Some of their department store partners are opening up new space to them, going into markets of the country they weren't in previously, and there's a lot happening. So Benefit have had a couple of amazing years really in terms of their growth, doing really, really well with their department store relationships, and it's leading to more growth for them. So it's 470 doors now, but that will only grow over the next year or so, and they employ approximately 2,000 people across the UK and Ireland. So the position that I'm recruiting for, so it's an area manager role, but Benefit call it a sales development manager. That role encompasses 10 to 12 counters. They like to keep the counter numbers relatively small, so at the moment, because they are growing, they have got areas with 15 in them, but ideally it's 10 to 12 counters is the ideal number, and that encompasses about 45 to 60 people. One of the reasons why they like to keep the counter numbers small for the areas is because the position is extremely hands-on. So it's all about leading by example. It's about the area managers not just managing from a distance or remotely managing. It's about them getting stuck in, really, getting to know their teams, typically spending a whole day in one store. And so when you're doing your store visits, a lot of area manager roles, you can be in and out 3 or 4 stores a day. The benefit position is very much about basing yourself in one store for the entire day. Because of that, you're on the shop floor, you're driving sales, so a lot of that day you are actually observing on the shop floor, but actually getting to grips with the staff, really knowing what's going on, but working with them, motivating them, showing them how it's done, proving that you can do the beauty consultant role, you can make sales, you can traffic stop. That's a key element of the position. So someone that wants an area manager role because they want to get off the shop floor, this wouldn't be the job for you. It really is about being visible on the shop floor and leading from the front. Traffic stopping, as mentioned before, is a key element of the benefit sales strategy. Benefit don't do a lot in terms of marketing or external advertising. They just don't. They do a lot on the social media. They're very active on Twitter, but they don't do big spreads in the glossy. They don't do television advertising campaigns like some of the big global brands do. Their marketing, if you like, their advertising, it really does come from the in-store experience. It comes from the consultants on the shop floor going out there and not just staying behind the counter, but walking around, traffic stopping customers and getting as many customers as they can over to the counter in a seat where they can demonstrate product to them. That is the key strategy that Benefit employ. And as an area manager, it's about motivating and coaching your teams to do that and to give them the tools and the confidence and the skills they need to be successful in terms of that. So needless to say, energy, enthusiasm and passion are key traits that the sales development manager needs. You need to be, really living and breathing and embodying all that is Benefit. And Benefit is a fun brand. It's about having a laugh, really. They take the results seriously, but how they get there is extremely fun. So it's about embodying that, really, in everything you do. So having bags of energy to really be able to inspire your teams to go out there and sell. So sales and targets, obviously goes without saying, is really what it's all about. Driving sales, reaching targets. So it is a highly target-driven environment, but it's fun too, I think, is how I would describe it in a nutshell. So what do they look for? A lot of people, a lot of the other brands that I recruit for, they want a solid background within cosmetics or beauty. They feel that that's what they need. They want people that have got prior experience. Some of the more makeup artistry-led brands, they want people that have worked their way up from, a retail makeup artist through the ranks and managed teams. Benefit is a fantastic brand, but it's not a makeup artistry-led brand as such. The products are very easy to use, and in fact, going back to the original vision, it was all set up to be about quick fixes. Makeup didn't have to be a complicated thing. You didn't have to be a makeup artist to use Benefit products. So you haven't got to have a beauty background to work for them. A lot of people do, because obviously we find that people that are passionate about cosmetics are often already working within the industry, but Benefit do not require that. And because they're very different to the other brands, often people that have got experience outside beauty are great, because they're not coming with ideas from the other brands, but they're perhaps coming with different ideas and different ways of working from retailers that, that are still really relevant to the Benefit experience. So the key elements that Benefit look for are, in terms of the experience side, looking for people who have got either a multi-site background, so have previously managed, ideally, 5 or so stores in either a retail or associated industry. So often we've actually placed people who've really been passionate about beauty, they love their makeup, but they've been in a hospitality background, restaurants, one of the restaurant chains or bars, cafes, or even like a field sales background, so perhaps managing teams within a field sales role that's again similar to retail. Or another background that really works are people who are coming from the department stores who benefit work with. So for example, the House of Fraser, sales managers, Debenhams, John Lewis, people who are used to that department store way of working, who have worked with various brands. It doesn't need to be beauty. Often we do have people that perhaps running the beauty floor in one of the big department stores that are keen to get into an area role, and they're often a really good fit. But even people that are perhaps working on the fashion floor or the accessories floor that want to get experience within an area role, they would be an ideal fit for what benefits need for their sales development manager. Because often these people, you've worked with various brands, you know how the brands work, you know how that host or partnership works from a different angle. So that can often be a very good fit for them. Going back then to brand fit, I've already mentioned it, I think, on the previous slide, but it's so important. In fact, it's probably more important than the experience. Because Benefit is so quirky, it's different than the other beauty brands, it's very much around embodying the Benefit brand, having the personality that is aligned really to the Benefit values. So going back to the fun, the laughter, the humour, the not taking yourself seriously, all of these traits are really important and what Benefit look for within their people. Work hard, play hard. That's really the culture. This position is not a 9-to-5 job. You're expected to actually be in stores pretty much from 9 till 5:30 on a typical day. So travelling between the stores is done either before and after. So it's not the case if you get to your first store at 11 o'clock having driven for a couple of hours. Ideally you'll be living no more than an hour and a half from each of your stores, but the idea is that you're in there from the open of business. So 9 o'clock you're in there on the shop floor working with your teams as early as possible. So it is a work hard, play hard kind of culture, and really the passion, the enthusiasm. You need to be able to inspire the team to sell. The team have got quite high targets to hit. They need to be motivated. So the area sales development manager needs to be a motivational, energetic character. So brand fit and experience. So that's a bit of an overview of Benefit and what they look for in terms of their sales development manager position. I'm happy to take any questions from you guys at the end, but in terms of the next steps, if you like what you've heard and you'd like to progress with an application for this position, the next step is to follow that link on the screen now and submit your application. So you haven't got to go through a application process on the website. I don't think the advert is actually on it. You need to just literally follow that link, submit your CV, and you can mention in the I will know pretty much when I see your CV that you've applied for that position. That's the next step. There are 10 positions, which is fantastic, so 10 areas. So with that in mind, you're not going to be competing with every single person that applies for this position. So I'll be very keen to find out if you know other people like yourself, other people who are perhaps in similar positions in an area, a multi-site role or a department store management role, who are also looking for a new challenge in 2015. If you do, and if you recommend someone to us and they get the job, we'll pay you a £100 referral fee, and that's per person. So if you recommend us 5 amazing candidates and we place all 5 of them, then that's £500 in your pocket. So normally we wouldn't suggest that people, because often we have a role, and if you recommend somebody, then they're going to be fighting over that same job, because we have so many vacancies that we're keen to fill with benefit. Then the £100 referral fee, we're happy to promote that. So if you know some other amazing candidates who you feel would be a good fit for the brand and have got the right level of experience, please recommend them to us. And if they quote your name, we will put your name as the source, and once we place them and they're in the role for a qualifying period, we will pay out a £100 referral fee per placement. So that's the next step. So if you're interested, please do submit your application to us by following the link on the screen there, and we'll be back in touch with you to arrange the next step after that, which will actually be a Skype call, a Skype video interview call between myself and you, where we'll speak a lot more about you, about what you can bring to the role. We'll talk through your achievements, talk through your CV, and give you a bit more information about the position. Also, again, going back to the referral fee, I've been notified this afternoon that Benefit will also be looking for regional managers, regional sales manager. That's the role above the sales development manager position. Now, we're looking for people who are probably more senior, definitely in a field-based area position, probably managing other managers, either managing area managers or managing senior store managers. We're looking for at least one of those, because we've got the 10 areas that will essentially create 2 new regions. So we're looking for at least one regional manager for the business too in 2015. So if you know some amazing, if your boss is looking for a job and you think they'd be a great fit for the regional manager role, let us know. Maybe yourself. I mean, I know that we contacted a few people at varying levels. Maybe you've watched this and actually think, you know, I could be a good fit for the regional manager role. Then follow that link as well and submit your CV, and we can discuss which position is a better fit for you. I'm just going to check the box. I've got a few questions that are coming up. Right, I have got, someone said, can I keep the slide there? They need to copy it. Which slide are you talking about? Is it the slide that we've currently got on now? If it is, let me know. If it's not, I can go back and show you a different slide. So if you just type in the box, if this is the slide that you'll want to see, I'll keep it on the screen. Somebody else asking about salary. Sorry, we should have mentioned that before. The salary for the sales development manager is a maximum of 32,000 as a basic salary, 32k per annum. There's also a very attractive benefits package. The bonus scheme is up to 8,000 per annum, and it's paid on a quarterly basis. So there's £2,000 a quarter is up for grabs as a bonus. So that is a pretty good bonus scheme. There's also a private health insurance, there's a pension scheme, and lots of other benefits you would normally expect. So obviously you get a company car as well. So company car, private medical, a pension scheme. You also get a product allocation and discount on products as well. And the bonus package is, I believe, it's 50% based on your personal targets, your personal goals, and 50% based on the company achieving a certain level as well. But the company is flying high at the moment, so there's no reason why the company shouldn't be definitely hitting their objectives to ensure that you hit that side of the bonus. A few more questions coming in. Somebody else is asking about, so bear with me a second. And the salary for the regional manager role, thanks for asking that. the salary is up to 50,000 for the regional, and again a very attractive bonus scheme. I'm not actually quite sure the exact breakdown of the regional manager bonus, but it certainly is an attractive and competitive bonus package there as well. And the regional role, at the moment, they've pretty much said that they are happy to see candidates from right across the UK. There might only be one vacancy there, but there's possible internal moves. You know, they would happily invite candidates living all across the UK for potential regional manager roles too. And the same for the area manager roles. They are all over the UK for the 10 vacancies. The interview process, somebody else has asked, okay, it's a 3-stage process, or 4 if you count the Skype call. So the first stage is our Skype interview, which is between us, Rembo Consultancy, and the candidates, and that would just be an informal interview, really informal, talking through your CV, getting a flavour for you and what you're all about and what you can bring to the role. The first step with Benefit themselves is an assessment centre. It's a mixture of group and individual tasks. It takes place in Chelmsford at their head office, and we're actually moving into a new office in January, a brand spanking new office. So that will be a great chance to see that too. That's the first step. There are a couple of preparations. There's a presentation that you need to do for that and a few other tests, but we'll come to that and discuss that further on the Skype call for those candidates who are interested in pursuing this. The second interview for candidates who are successful is a shop floor interview. As mentioned before, how important it is that you're hands-on, that you lead by example, and you can essentially perform the beauty consultant role. The second interview is essentially the beauty consultant interview. So it's on the shop floor, it's demoing products, it's traffic stopping customers, and being able to really be confident to get up there and to lead that element of the role. And then candidates who are successful following that are invited back for a final interview, which is a sit-down interview, again talking through your experience with some of the senior managers. It's normally the HR director and the divisional manager for the north, for one of the regions, and that's a competency-based interview. So the structure you have within the sales team, you've got the sales director at the top of the tree. You've got 2 divisional managers, one for the north, one for the south. Then your regional managers, and there will be 10 regions next year. And then you've got your area managers, or sales development managers, who each report into a regional manager and manage 10 to 12 counters each. So the regional manager have about 50 stores and 4 or 5 area managers who report into them. So that is it in terms of my presentation. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you found out as much as you want to know in this early stage about Benefit and about the positions. Happy to take any more questions. So any more questions, do type in the box, and I'm happy to stay on the line and answer those. So bear with me a second while I have a look at those. So I think that's it now for questions. There's a couple that I will come back to the candidates personally regarding those questions. Thank you for those couple at the end, and I will come back to you and give you answers to those, and we can hopefully get on a Skype call. I have had some applications from some candidates previously. Thank you for that. So I will be coming back to you to arrange a Skype call for those who have already sent in their CVs. Those of you who haven't, please follow that link and submit your application, and I'll come back to you to discuss the next steps ASAP, looking to arrange Skype calls for week commencing next Monday, so the week commencing the 15th of December. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining me. Any other questions that you have got, please drop me an email, which I should have put on a slide, but it's mattgoddard@rembo.co.uk. That's Matt Goddard, M-A-T-T, @rembo.co.uk. And I look forward to speaking to many of you again very soon. Have a lovely evening. Many thanks.